Hello, everyone. Just in case you don't know who I am, my name is Jason Allen. I'm in the School of Education, and I'm also the coordinator of the Secondary Education Social Studies program. If you're receiving this video, there's a strong possibility that you're an advisor for a secondary education student in your specific content area. And you may or may not have heard we're making a transition in the coming semesters towards a year-long residency program. It's something that the state is mandating. It's not something we were seeking to do, but we have to do it. That transition is actually going to start in the fall of 2024 because the state mandates that we have to have a secondary. I'm looking at it on my desk, but we have to have a secondary education year-long residency program on the books in our catalog starting in the fall of 2024. So our incoming freshmen will be the first year-long residencies that students that we have in the secondary program. That will actually start to transition and we will work our way to 2027 when those students will be in their penultimate semester. With all that being said, the purpose of this video is to give you a little bit of an overview as to what the year-long residency program is and also how it affects advising. I'll give you a quick spoiler. The advising actually isn't going to change too much. There's just one real change. The real aspect with advising with the residency program is going to be watching student workload. If that makes sense, or hopefully it will make sense after you see a couple of slides. I will try to keep this as short as possible because I know everyone's time is limited and I think sometimes less is more. So let's just go ahead and go. And I'll go ahead and pull PowerPoint up and let's go ahead and go. And if you don't mind, I'm going to switch the settings though real quick because I like that a little better. And as you can see, secondary residency. I'm just going to give a quick overview as to how we kind of got here. But again, this is a state requirement. The state wants everyone to go to a year-long residency because they're finding that, well, they feel that the students are more prepared. Also, there seems to be a higher chance that they'll stay at the school that they're doing the residency in. So it's a way for teacher retention within the state of West Virginia. I think those are the theories, but I'm sure we'll get numbers as this program is more and more in place. Again, I kind of already stated this, but starting with the fall semester of 2024, we will have a year-long residency on the books. Now, I do want to clarify, just in case this sounds confusing, and it is, but we will have it for the freshmen coming in fall 2024. We still have the student teaching on the books for the upcoming semesters for students who are already on a prior catalog. The 2024 freshmen will be entering the residency program if they're following the progression pretty seamlessly in the fall of 2027. So 2024 freshmen will start the residency in 2027 if everything's going right. Just a few things to note. This is not a change, but before students would student teach, they had to have 125 hours of field hours completed. That is actually going to be slightly bumped back. It's nothing that's going to affect any of the content courses. They're all related to EDUC courses, or if you're in the music program, I believe there are some field hours in that. But students, before they take part in the residency program, will have to have 125 hours completed. We're actually back mapping those into some classes with our EDUCs and bumping the hours up slightly. So hopefully that'll all be taken care of on our end on the EDUC portion. It will be, but just wanted to kind of give the heads up. So that is still in place. In terms of the residency, students will be completing 250 hours in the penultimate semester now when they're in the field. That is a big, big change. And that is probably the hardest part about this. Because while students, and by the way, the penultimate semester in the 7-year progression will be the 7th semester, while they're completing this residency one, they'll still be taking other courses. So it's one of those things. We have had a couple secondary students who have piloted, and they have all said one thing: if you can keep your course loads as low as possible, it really helps. If you have to be full-time, you still have to have 12 credit hours, obviously. So I'll show you my progression. Peg has actually already went through and we've updated all the ones with the other progressions. I think all the coordinators have already looked at it. But with that all being said, the workload in the penultimate semester is the big part. It's 250 hours. Obviously, the students will have to work out with their teachers how they're going to do their field hours, but they do have to have 250 verified hours completed in that residency one semester. In the final semester, there's really not a major change. They have to have 500 hours completed in that final semester. That final semester is still going to be basically set up the same way, where now they take student teaching in EDUC 461. Once the residency goes into place, they're just going to take residency 2 and EDUC 461. The big change is that penultimate semester. And the reason we have to even change the titles of these, the state is requiring, starting with the catalog 2024, that we have something in place that says Residency 1 and Residency 2 because it relates to their certification. They have to have completed a Residency 1 program and a Residency 2 program. Or sorry, Residency 1 course and a Residency 2 course to properly complete the program. I will say this only because we're going to talk about something here in a second related to advising. The number of credits that the Residency 1 is, the course, does not matter to the West Virginia Department of Education. They just simply want something on the transcript that says Residency 1, Residency 2. And one thing, just to kind of throw it out there, when we did this, the 120 credit hour limit here in Shepherd was always in the back of our mind. So we have a lot of different certification programs here at Shepherd, and we were trying to keep uniformity as best we could. And that meant that the changes really are all happening on the EDUC side. And most of those changes were also limited because there are certain courses that we're required to have so the students can still get certified. But there's a listing of the courses. And I'm sure, because they're all awesome, that all the coordinators within the content areas have everyone up to standards on this or giving everyone the lowdown on it. So it says proposal, but this has all been approved through CNI and core now. So just to kind of make sure that everyone knows that. In terms of EDUC 400 and EDUC 443, those are courses that on everyone's progression are listed as being taken in the 7th or penultimate semester. So we are actually co-recking those courses. Now, I will say this, some transfer students and sometimes students who come in that are on PACE have taken EDUC 400, and we do accept that. So really, this is the major change in terms of advising. Whenever students, I'll jump back to this slide, but since I'm going here, whenever students are taking EDUC 443, they also need to register for EDUC 375 Residency 1. That's the advising change. So whenever students are in 443, they need to register for 375. That's it. That's all. I will say this, I'm sure most of you are probably familiar. 443 actually has 50 hours in it currently. Starting in the fall of 2027, those 50 hours will be out, and we're going to start, well, we're going to slowly, even before then, start to kind of move them out. So students are completing field hours, the 125 hours requirements beforehand. Only because it's a requirement. So again, 443, 375, that's the advising. That's the residency change. So our freshmen that are coming in this year, when they get to the fall of 2027, when they're ready to register, I'm assuming Dr. Johnson will still be teaching the course. When they're taking 443, they just need to make sure they also have the 375 so that residency 1's on there. I also just wanted to kind of say, and I think it's on this one, you will probably notice that 375 is a 0 credit residency 1 course. The reason for that is, well, there's multiple reasons, but the primary one is it was the one that worked. We have so many certification programs that we had to figure out a way to make everything kind of informal. We contacted a lot of different universities, how they approached the program, the problem when they had caps on credit hours at their university. And what everyone kind of said is, well, our problem wasn't that much of a problem because we have our students take a field course when they're taking a class that has hours in it. And usually that field course has 0 credit hours. We checked with the state of West Virginia, and that is true. That's an approach that you can take. So for us as a university, it was just the easiest way was to just create a Residency 1 course that was 0 credits that had to be taken with 443 to get the field hours. So when you see that 0 credits, don't worry, that is actually correct. We've gotten permission. It's been approved across the university. It's also been approved at the state of West Virginia, WVDE, and it's actually not uncommon. I think, I hope I'm saying the right universities, but I believe West Liberty does it, Marshall does it, and I know a few other universities also do it. It allows all of our content areas to still meet all their requirements, but they have to have for courses. Like I know for social studies, there are certain courses I have to have my students have, so they're all still there. EDUC courses, there are specific ones like, I think I had it on there, the literacy course, the special education courses. We have to have those in there. So the 0 credit really actually in some ways makes this a lot easier. Again, main thing to take from this video, when students in the fall of 2027, our freshmen that are coming in this year, take 443, they need to also take EDUC 375 Residency 1. I will say this, we've had a couple of pilots, and one thing they did say, they loved it. They actually said they would do the residency again. The first month is very rough though. They said that September, if you can make it through September, you're good. So the reason why we're getting this video out is just keep in mind the workload for that penultimate semester. I know sometimes there's not much that we can do about that. Especially, I wouldn't blame a student if they're trying to get done. They're going to want to take 15 or 18 credit hours. And obviously that's allowable. We just had an elementary student who did it, but it's just going to be a lot of work. So, we want to make sure everyone is just able to keep it together through that semester. So again, this video, that's basically it. I will just show this interest. I want to, again, be respectful of everyone's time, but this is my program. And as you can see, it's exactly the same. And everyone else's program is going to be exactly the same as it is today, as it was last year. But with the residency starting in 2024, when my freshmen come in this year, as you can see, I have my students taking 443. In 2027, they're going to take 375. That's the requirement. Now, I also have 400 in there. I like that course because it's an online course. It's always online. It gives students a little bit of flexibility if they have to go out in the field. But my students also still, if everything's going smooth, they have a U.S. history class that they have to take. So they will be here on Tuesdays and Thursdays or Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. We just have to work around that. Students will figure out a schedule with their field teachers, their placement cooperating teachers, however we'll call them, cooperating teachers. And you will also see there's usually another class. I will say this, I don't want to make things too complex, but like some courses, like if you have students who are going to graduate in the fall, you might have a different course, obviously, in these progressions. Like, for example, EDUC 422, that course for my students is only offered in the fall. So if I have a student who's doing 443 in the spring and they're taking 375, there might be something else there because they've had to take 422 a little earlier. Everyone on here I know knows how to advise and things like that. So with all that being said, I hope I didn't babble too much. I hope this video is somewhat helpful, but please, 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 if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I worked with a lot of awesome people during this. This has not been the easiest thing in the world to kind of put together, even though the change is pretty simple. 443, 375, that's the advising penultimate semester. There's been a lot of moving parts with it. Every area, every content has been awesome. Everyone in my department and School of Education has been great. And we've all been trying to work out what just worked best. And this seemed to be the most doable. But please make sure you reach out. If you have questions, you can do it to me. Obviously, your content coordinators in your own departments and anyone in the School of Education should be able to help. If we can't find an answer or don't have an answer, we will definitely contact the Department of Education or figure it out somehow. So with that being said, I'm going to stop babbling. I hope this helps. I'll send the PowerPoint out along with this video if you don't want to listen to my voice or my ramblings. So with all that being said, I'm recording this in the summer. I hope everyone's summer is going well, summer of 2024, and I will see everyone around on campus. Thank you very much.